Welcome back, young adventurers. You'll be glad to hear Flametale is wide awake now, and insisting I pick up the tale straight away before he dozes off again. When we left Eric and Freya, the longship was drifting into the fog, and a terrible hush had fallen across the deck. Let's continue where we left off, and see what happened next. Freya and Eric crouched in their hiding place, uncertain and afraid. Moments later, they felt a sudden hush settle over the deck. Something was wrong. They peeked out to see the crew standing still, silent, eyes glassy and unfocused, as if caught in a dream. Even their father Bjorn lay by the mast, unmoving. Skari moved among them with a grin, the amulet now glowing faintly against his chest. Freya and Eric crouched behind a stack of supplies. The strange glow of the amulet hadn't touched them, likely because they'd been hidden among barrels of salted fish and cloaked in thick sailcloth. Skari hadn't known they were there.
"The spell has begun,"
Freya whispered.
"We have to wake father."
"I'll go for the amulet," Eric said quietly. "You try to wake him." Eric crept low across the deck, moving like a shadow. His eyes locked on the amulet, swaying with each of Skari's steps. Closer, closer. Just a little more. Freya knelt beside her father. He was still as stone, breath shallow. She shook him gently.
"Father, wake up. Please, it's me, Freya. You need to hear me."
No response. His eyes remained blank, distant. The wind picked up, the sea rising like a living creature. Rain began to lash the deck as clouds darkened to bruised purple overhead. Thunder cracked. The sails snapped in the wind, and the ship groaned under the weight of the growing storm. Freya gripped her father's shoulders harder.
"You told me stories of fighting sea beasts, of storms, of bravery. You were never afraid. Don't let it end like this."
Still nothing. Just as Eric reached for the amulet, Skari turned. His eyes widened. "You!" He lunged. Eric scrambled back, heart thudding in his ears, diving behind a crate as Skari's blade slammed into the wood of the ship. Freya looked back at the chaos. Eric was in danger. The storm was growing worse, and still her father lay motionless. She reached into her cloak and pulled out the carved wooden whale her father had given her before he left. Her hands trembled as she placed it in his palm and curled his fingers around it.
"You said you'd be back before the whale saw another tide. So come back. Come back now."
For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then suddenly, her father's fingers tightened. His chest rose with a deep, steady breath. Another crash of thunder. The serpent rose from the depths, coiling around the ship like a storm made flesh. Waves battered the sides. Skari shouted over the roar. "You'll regret this, boy!" He lunged again. Eric ducked and darted between barrels, the amulet swinging wildly as Skari stumbled. Then, a voice. "Skari!" Bjorn, awake, eyes blazing. Skari froze, just long enough. Eric sprang forward and snatched the amulet. With all his strength, he flung it down and smashed it against the mast. A crack of light burst across the deck. The serpent screamed, a sound like tearing steel, and vanished into the depths. The sky cleared, the wind eased. The crew blinked, groaning as life returned to their limbs. Bjorn turned to Eric and Freya. "Let's go home," he said. Your mother will be wondering where you both are. Around them, the crew slowly gathered, realizing what had happened. One by one, they began to cheer. Then they sang songs of the two young heroes who had stood against a storm, a serpent, and a traitor. The songs carried them all the way home. Skari was bound and brought home to face justice. When they returned, the village erupted with joy, and Eric and Freya were named heroes. A new carving was added to the Hall of Honor, a broken serpent, and two small shields beneath it. And the tale of two brave young Vikings who snuck aboard a ship and changed the tide of fate was told for generations to come. Ah, wasn't that a tale worth telling? Just remember, bravery doesn't always come from size or strength. It comes from doing what's right, even when you're frightened to do so. Eric and Freya could have stayed hidden, but instead, they chose to act. And in doing so, they saved their father, their crew, and their village. Now tell me this. If you found yourself on a voyage at sea, what adventure would you have? Share your ideas far and wide, and who knows, perhaps your tale will inspire another. Until next time, keep your hearts brave and your minds sharp. Farewell, young adventurers.